Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
Securities offered through Aventex Investment Services, member FINRA and SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Aventex Advisory Services. Insurance services offered through Aventex affiliated insurance agency.
This program is furnished by Ready, Set, Go Beyond.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Are you ready to go beyond? Welcome to my show, Go Beyond. I'm your host, Jordana Foster. Each week, I will be showing you how to go beyond your limiting beliefs to take you and your business to the next level. If you're ready to redefine, recommit, reset, and re-engage yourself, this is the time, this is the place, go beyond. Well, hello, everyone. It is Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's the Go Beyond show night, and I'm your host, Jordana Foster. So glad to have you with us here tonight. You know, as you may know, at the beginning of the year, I decided that I would focus on one key word for each show, okay, to highlight one word that we can unpack, whether it's me training or if I had a guest or sponsor. Do you have any idea what the word of the day is? Any idea? The word of the day is stages. We're going to unpack that in a little bit with my guest and sponsor, and it's going to be an incredible conversation, so I can't wait to share that with you. As a business coach, as a leadership and communication trainer, and a motivational speaker, I am so passionate about helping business owners and team leaders and managers and entrepreneurs to get out of their own way. Doesn't that sound important to do? To get unstuck and to get really clear on what it is that's holding you back from achieving the goals that you have for your life, for your business, for your career. And once again, I assure you there's more than one thing that's holding us back. From virtual mindset shift workshops and communication and leadership trainings to corporate training programs designed for business owners and business professionals and those team leaders who are really looking to up-level their thinking, their mindset, to really shift their communication skills and really deliver and get those results with the optimal results with the performance that they desire and they deserve. Is that you? Is that your team? You know, now more than ever, having a thinking partner, an accountability partner, a business coach to really help guide you through and navigate through these still uncharted waters that we're still trying to figure out. It's so important, and it's important from a creative standpoint, creatively thinking, as well as a strategic thinking standpoint. It's not a luxury anymore to have a business coach and really that thinking partner. It is a game changer. It's a necessity. So if you're ready, and I mean really ready, to go beyond your limitations and expectations and take you and your career and your business to the next level, contact me for a complimentary 45-minute lunch and learn or discovery session at readysetgobeyond@gmail.com. Like and message me on Facebook at Ready, Set, Go Beyond, or contact me on my website at johnmaxwellgroup.com/Jordana Foster. Here's the thing. If you want to grow your business, if you want to advance in your career, you need to grow yourself first from the inside out, okay? It's time for you to step up, show up, and never give up. It's time for you to go beyond. So the word of the day, as I said, is stages. And the definition of stages is a distinct point or period in the process of change or development. And we all go through so many different stages in our life, don't we? And speaking of life, changes and stages. Here's the good segue. I want to welcome my amazing guest and sponsor, which is Matt Bodkin, who is the president and CEO of Building Financial Solutions, a private wealth management firm. Matt, welcome to the Go Beyond show. It's amazing to have you here.
Hi there, and thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, and it's always a treat to have you here to share your incredible insights and your knowledge with all of us. And I just want to start the conversation before we go in. I want the audience to think into this. Do you know the difference between the financial planning that should take place during your 30s and 40s compared to when you're in your 50s, 60s, and plus? And we're going to go into that conversation right now with Matthew Botkin from Building Financial Solutions, because he's the expert in this. He's a wealth management expert. He's a financial advisor. And you're going to learn how to plan and protect your family, for you and your family financially for the future. So Matt, again, so happy to have you here. I'm excited to jump in. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Here we go. So, Matt, when we were having a conversation recently, you mentioned something very interesting that I really wanted you to go into more detail about. You said that we all have different needs at different times in our life. And that's so true. And I want to know how you can explain, what did you mean by that? It's an incredible point.
Most people don't think about different times in their life. Typically, we are focused on the now, today, what's happening today. We're not thinking about what's happening in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years down the line. We're thinking about the now.
Right. And by thinking about the now, those different times, and we're going to go into that. When you were saying that to me, and we were talking about, we're going to go into the different age groups that we all fall into throughout our lives in those different stages. I want to really focus right now, when we go to that, circle back on, do people really understand what a financial advisor does, what you do, the role that you play, how you can help them to really facilitate and think into this planning that's so essential throughout all of those stages that we go through?
Rarely do people understand what a financial advisor does. There are many people who call themselves financial advisors, but the good ones, the planners and the advisors that do what they need to do with clients. Let me break it down. So what is financial planning? When you hear the words financial planning, a lot of people don't know what that means. That's something that I've discovered. But interestingly, if you break it down to its parts, people start to understand. So planning, let's start with planning. What is planning? We're planning for a future time, for a future now. So if I'm planning for 10 years or 20 years, we only live for today, right? Today is the time to do things, to make changes in life, to enjoy things. But there is a future now. This now is different than the now in 5 minutes or in 5 years, right? And so we are planning for a future time. When we're saying finances, a financial event in the future. We're planning for the future. So for example, we have retirement planning. We're planning for someone's retirement. Wedding planning for a future wedding. Different financial events in a person's life. And that is what planning for finances is.
Thank you so much. I want everybody who's watching and listening to understand this is one of the many things that makes you different. This differentiates you from so many of the other financial and wealth advisors out there, because you explain things in such a way that people get it. They don't feel overwhelmed, right? You really take the time to make it very relatable. And I think that that's such a gift to be able, your tagline, you simplify finance, and you actually did it right there. So I just wanted to point that out, because I thought that's amazing that you do that. So what you were saying, needs change as we change. And so when we're talking about those different stages or phases that we go through in our life, let's start with when we're in our 20s and 30s, when somebody's in their 20s and 30s and they might be single, they might be a young couple, possibly they have young children, or they are thinking about planning, there's that word, planning to have kids. Let's talk about how financial planning works within that age group, what they should be thinking about at that point.
Sure. So if we're talking about, let's say, the young 20s, the college-age kids, the single bachelors, those that are doing their own thing, they're focused typically on trying to find, a one or two main points of focus in their now and what they're experiencing. You ever seen the Bachelor or the Bachelorette, Jordana?
Who hasn't? With the rose ceremony, the Bachelor and the Bachelor, the rose ceremony, and they're all decked out. Absolutely.
Yeah, my wife loves that, and occasionally I'll catch an episode too. And right, and so what are these 20-year-olds or 25-year-olds typically looking for in that show? Typically, they're trying to find love. They're trying to find their partner. And sometimes they'll show what they do, what their first career is, or what their job currently at the time is, which could change, right? And so typically people in their young 20s, The Bachelor, is looking for their first job or their career and how to determine their career for the now and to find their partner. And they're not typically thinking, gee, I'm going to retire in 40 years. Let me start saving. They should do that. But that's not what the 20-year-olds are typically doing. They're trying to find love, and they're trying to start their careers and their lives together after college, usually.
Absolutely. And the other thing that they do, and I know we were talking about this earlier, they're very focused on image. Not that you're not when you're older, but at that age, image, the car you're driving and the career you have and that you're building and the maybe the apartment or the house that you're renting, right? So that's again, that's another opportunity for somebody, even at that young age, to have these really important conversations with you to discuss planning and taking that money, right? And not just not having that image, but really not having to make a choice, but to be able to talk with you and you make some suggestions that would be better for them for the future. I have another question for you. When you talk about a growth phase, what's a growth phase, and when does that usually occur? What does that look like for, people who may not recognize that?
So first, let's talk about what a growth phase is, because believe it or not everybody knows what a growth phase is before I answer that directly. So a growth phase is where people are trying to build wealth, trying to grow wealth, trying to create a pile of money, trying to grow their assets, right? We start off born with nothing, and we try to grow for the phases. Now, the growth phase is typically from when we're born to, we usually see this to about 60, 65, a person's young 60s. We're trying to acquire, build, and grow these assets. And we refer to that as the growth phase.
Wonderful.
And then, you know what, I'm going to add one more thought, because I
Yes.
figure I'll go once you hit 60, 65, something shifts in the mind. And we go from acquiring, growing assets to what we call an income phase. Where does my cash flow come from? How am I going to generate income? How am I going to enjoy the rest of our life? And so we go from that growth phase to what we call an income phase at some point later.
And that's a really important distinction, because I think, we're moving so quickly. Life is happening, right? And so when you're talking about being in the now, being able to have a conversation with you that has these insights and perspective to kind of guide them and let them know, look, at this point, this is what you should be thinking about what that lifestyle is going to look like for your retirement and whatnot. And I wanted to talk about another category for us to talk into, and then we'll cut to a commercial break and circle back. But someone who is married, right, with their own kids, what kind of planning, once you have kids, what kind of planning comes with that for the loved ones? I mean, I know we had talked about there's college, and I really think that's an important topic to talk about for people to be thinking into, no matter how old the kids are.
Sure. Once a person has a child, usually their first child or a couple of children, their planning totally thinks. They go from the bachelor phase to being married to being to having children. There's a couple obvious elements that people do think about, and there are a couple of hidden ones, one or two hidden ones. The obvious ones, a person is looking for life insurance to cover their children in the event something happens to them, maybe some disability, they have their first job, in the event something happens to them, they want their family protected, right? These are sort of obvious, and maybe they set up their first IRA, their first 401k, obvious. One that is hidden that a lot of people do not consider or think when doing planning is grandparents gifting to the grandchildren. Maybe they want to help with college plans. Maybe they have an estate issue that they want to do. But there's more holistic planning that happens when you're looking at the whole picture than just thinking about yourself and your own perspective that you get when you talk to an advisor, which can help with all kinds of financial decisions.
That is so important to include, multi-generational, right? To be able to think about legacies and all of that and how that comes into play instead of being short-sighted and only having it be about you, to have those conversations to include you. So speaking of conversations, we're going to cut to a commercial break. How can a viewer or listener who is interested in getting a complimentary consultation with you about financial planning for the future in the different stages that they're experiencing, how can they reach you, Matt?
So first, to remember my name is helpful. Matthew Botkin. My name is Matthew Botkin. I can be reached at my office, 954-771-0100. That's 954-771-0100. Or on my website is buildingfinancialsolutions.com. That's buildingfinancialsolutions with an S.com.
Fantastic. Well, don't go anywhere. We're going to continue this very informative and important conversation about the different stages of our life and how important it is to have that financial planning, and contacting Matthew Botkin from Building Financial Solutions to help you do just that and to simplify finance. Matt, thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. We're just going to cut to a commercial break with my amazing sponsors. Thank you so much, Matt. We'll see you in just 1 minute. Thank you so much.
Does your pool have a leak? Pool leaks can be extremely costly, mostly because many homeowners don't realize the difference between normal evaporation and a leak. With over 20 years of expertise, LeakWorks provides premier leak detection, repair and pool equipment for pools, spas, and fountains. We've performed thousands of leak detections and repairs for both the residential and commercial swimming pools throughout South Florida. We provide comprehensive leak detection using the latest state-of-the-art ultrasonic equipment to dive pools. We specialize in leak detection and repairs, skimmers, pumps, filters, main drains, heaters, lights, saltwater systems, and so many more. Call us at 954-629-3654 or email us at leakworksflorida@gmail.com to set up an appointment. Honest, reliable, dependable, licensed, and insured. LeakWorks. When it comes to pools, we have the tools and expertise to get the job done right.
Conceat Software creates technology to help small and medium-sized businesses save time and money. Conceat Software sets up the IT infrastructure, which includes your computer, telephone, cloud system, network, email, and security. Conceat Software can help you with business automation by developing software, providing accounting software with Sage Intacct, setting up online sales and e-commerce, and customizing apps. Call Conceat Software at 954-874-9093 or Conceat.com. Conceat Software, IT to help you work smarter.
At Building Financial Solutions, we understand that finances, inheritances, and retirement can be stressful, overwhelming, and complicated, and we simplify it together. We guide you through the process of preparing for today and tomorrow. We specialize in investments, inheritances, rollovers, annuities, retirement, estate planning, and insurance. Contact us for a complimentary consultation at 954-771-0100 or on our website, www.buildingfinancialsolutions.com. Building Financial Solutions, simplifying finance. Securities offered through Aventex Investment Services, member FINRA and SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Aventex Advisory Services. Insurance services offered through Aventex affiliated insurance agency.
You've been listening to Go Beyond. If you want to be part of the show as a guest, highlighting your business, or you would like more information about the content of the show, email me at readysetgobeyond@gmail.com or share your thoughts and call me at 888-565-1470. Welcome back to the Go Beyond Show. I'm your host, Jordana Foster, and I'd like to thank my amazing sponsors. First, LeakWorks, which is your expert in pool leak detection and pool repair, all kinds of pool repairs. Over 25 years in the business, licensed and insured residential and commercial. Contact leakworks.com for all your pool repair needs. Also, Conceat Software, IT services, software and development, and business automation. IT to help you work smarter and not harder. And boy, do we need to work smarter and not harder. And of course, Building Financial Solutions, Matthew Bodkin, a private wealth management firm that helps you simplify finance. And boy, do we need to simplify finance. It can get so complicated. We don't ask the questions that we need to, and we don't have someone in our court to help us do that. And that's why we are talking today with Matthew Bodkin, the owner, the CEO, and president of Building Financial Solutions, buildingfinancialsolutions.com. Welcome back, Matt. So happy to have you. And we are talking all about the different life stages, right? And Matthew, let's talk again about the different ages. Why don't you walk us through when somebody might be in their 40s? What should they be considering at that age, that stage?
So when a person hits their 40s, usually they have kids that are growing up now. They've been typically married for a period of time, or they've decided not to have kids, and now they're enjoying their career choices. Not everybody has kids, of course. But at this time, they start to wake up and think, if they haven't saved, that, I should start saving because retirement is going to start creeping up on me. So they oftentimes will wake up and want to do some investing. They'll start thinking about long-term care. They'll start thinking about their health. Maybe they have a small health issue, or they start thinking about the future, but they're still enjoying their family time. And they're thinking about, what do I need to do? Where am I? Or they're very happy that they started saving when they were in their 20s and 30s, because now they're looking at their statements or their financial picture and realizing they've done some good things. So typically 40s is either an opportunity to begin and people wake up and realize they haven't done anything, or they get to start to see and enjoy what they've been doing from the previous years.
Wonderful. And at either place that someone might be at, that's why having the conversation with Matt, with Building Financial Solutions, to be able to see where you're at, right? Because so many times we don't even ask ourselves these questions. We'll probably talk about this in the next show. We have boxes of papers, or, we're just not organized and we don't know what the financial situation is. And it's really good to be able to have someone to help guide you through that. Somebody who's very knowledgeable and an expert in this. So then, Matt, what about the 50s and 60s? What does that look like from a financial planning perspective?
Once you get to your 50s and 60s, typically by this time, if you've had kids, they're adult by now, they're starting their own careers and doing their own things, or you don't have kids and you're enjoying life a little further with more travel and more things. But typically when people get to their 50s and 60s, they're thinking to themselves, I really need to be saving if I haven't done so, or where am I and when can I retire? So all of a sudden, around 60-ish, people start to realize that the growth phase is nearing its end. And it's time to start thinking about, if I want to retire, if my salary stops or my business income ceases, what is going to replace that? And where will I get my income from? So our mind shifts into an income phase, typically into the 60s.
So say that again. I think that's really important for everyone to understand. They move from that growth, right, that planning, into, what did you say? Into that next phase.
The next phase is called the income phase.
The income
cash
phase.
flow phase.
And the cash flow, the income of where that money is going to be, the type of lifestyle that they want, how is that going to be sustainable, right?
Exactly.
And then getting with you, talking to you about discussing options, because if you don't set it up, it's not going to happen. So I think that it's so important to understand all of these situations and the stages that we're in. And you had an interesting story I wanted you to share about one of your clients really quick, that that talked with you and they did do that planning. And tell us about that, because I know that you have so many success stories with your clients that they were able to have the lifestyle that they wanted and they didn't have to be stressed or worried, and they had that peace of mind.
Sure. So we have a case where husband and wife had been saving most of their lives into their 20s. They set up their accounts and they'd gone through the growth phase the right way, the best way, investing early, doing what they can to try to build and grow. And he was successful and she supported him, and they had a great career and growth path. And once they got into their 60s, they still started to worry about, gee, once the career ends, where is my income going to come from? These assets is all that we have. And so we had a conversation to convert them to their income phase, to plan for the next years, right? Planning for the future, to make sure that they had the income that they would need that's sustainable throughout the years after his career stopped. And we were able to solve and cover their expenses so they never had to worry about retirement again and money again. And so that they could just enjoy the remaining years traveling and spending time with their family.
That's an amazing story. I love those happy endings. And let me ask you, for people who, if you hadn't gotten involved with that conversation, that wouldn't organically have happened without having that conversation and you jumping in to facilitate that, right?
Absolutely. Sometimes the natural is to convert to that income phase if you're talking with an advisor and you're having a conversation. But sometimes people just go through life, they've known the growth phase and they just want to keep growing. Mm-hmm. The problem with that is sometimes you worry about where that next income cash flow is going to come from, and you don't get to live a happy retirement throughout your retirement years. So the happy retirement is solving for and knowing what your income is going to be as long as you live.
Wonderful. We only have 1 minute left. Matt, how can someone who wants to contact you for a consultation regarding financial planning, how can they reach you?
So I can be reached. Again, my name is Matt Botkin, buildingfinancialsolutions.com. And my office number is 954-771-0100. That's 954-771-0100.
It's always a pleasure having you here and having your expertise and knowledge for you to share with everyone. You are so delightful. It's the quote of the night. Here you go. Life is in different stages. Every stage of life is the foundation for the next stage of life. Every stage of life must be fully lived. Layla Gifty Akita. And if you want to live fully and you want to enjoy every stage of that, it requires planning. Contact Matthew Botkin at buildingfinancialsolutions.com, and he can help you with peace of mind and being reassured to protect you and your family for the future and enjoy your life. Matthew, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here, and I love this conversation. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and contact Matt Botkin, buildingfinancialsolutions.com, for all of your planning needs, and get that peace of mind that we all need for all of the stages of your life. Matt, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Have a great night.
Securities offered through Aventex Investment Services, member FINRA and SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Aventex Advisory Services. Insurance services offered through Aventex Affiliated Insurance Agency.
Thank you for watching Go Beyond. Tune in next week as we continue to explore effective ways to help you go beyond your limiting beliefs to unlock your true potential to thrive personally and professionally. Learn how to take you and your business to the next level. Contact me at readysetgobeyond@gmail.com. Like and share my video, because sharing is caring. Contact me at 305-753-6758 or go to my website at readysetgobeyond.com.